ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। Yam pravajantamanopeita apeta krityam rapayano viraha katara ajuhava putreti tanmaitaya taravo binedus tam sarvabhutam hridayam munimanatosmi narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasatam vyasam tato jayamudidayat Bhaktya vihina parada lakshay kiptascha kamari tarangamadye kripamai tvam sharanam prapanna brinde namaste charanada vindam tavevasmi najivami tvaya vina iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayanam charanadike vancha kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So, we're going to begin by offering our most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of our beloved Gurus, unto Sri Guru Pada Padmanitya Bhavishta, Om Vishnu Parasto Tarsat Sri Srimad Abhaya Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and unto Sri Guru Pada Padmanitya Lita Bhavishta, Om Vishnu Pada Asta Tatsat Sri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, unto our exalted Rupanuga Varga, other symbol Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, joy. Sannyasi Gan even now here. So, how wonderful. So, I was speaking a little bit before, we're going to spend the next many days again hearing about Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and we're going to be reading from this. I think it shows up backwards on yours, but Sri Nityananda Caritamrta, which is a compilation of writings of the writings of Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur, compiled by the disciples of Srila Gaur Govinda Goswami Maharaj, our exalted godbrother. Very well done, very well done. And it's done in a narrative form from the verses. We're not getting purports, but we don't need, because we want to hear as much as possible about Nityananda Prabhu. But we are going to begin with some profound philosophical considerations written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Harmonist magazine, which he had done to continue the legacy of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And in recent times, the Rays of the Harmonist were excerpts from that done by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj to continue that legacy of giving us access to the profound writings of our acharyas and leaders in our Rupanuga Guru Varga. So now, this is his language, so it's going to be a little challenging, right? So, do you know that when he would give lectures to his audiences, he would give a lecture in Bengali, right? And then afterwards, one of his senior disciples would kind of translate it. And I won't say dumb it down, but make it accessible to the audience, because his language was so high, not just in Bengali, but there was a book called, I think it was called Saraswati Thakur. Was a big coffee table sized book, right? And it had many beautiful stories. It was done many, many years ago by followers of Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. And there was a story in it about conversation with Saraswati Prabhupada and one famous Indologist from Ohio State University. You know, big PhD guy, you know, big authority, very learned. But at one point in the conversation, the man remarked, you know, English is my first language. but you're talking to me in my own language with such elevated words and usage that I've never heard before. Sometimes I have trouble following you. When he was a young man, he had gone to university briefly, just long enough to read the entire Vedic library in that university. But among the things that he did read, and whatever he read, he memorized completely, fully, one-time reading, was the Oxford English Dictionary. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the old versions of the Oxford English Dictionary. They're like this wide, like this, and this thick. They have them at libraries. Just like you need, a lever to open the thing up. And sometimes they would have, 30 definitions for a word. And he knew them all. And sometimes I remember reading something where he was using a particular word, and I said, why is he using that word? That's not the mean, it doesn't fit here. And then I got one of these kind of dictionaries, and I got down to about the 9th definition, and there it was, clear as day, very beautifully described and quite applicable. So anyway, that's just to let you know how he uses his words. So he says he's going to be talking about the manifestation of Guru as the representative of Sri Nityananda. This is a good way to begin, because most of what we're going to be doing is stories, right? So, the Guru is the embodiment of the manifestation of the divinity to the pure, receptive, spiritual essence of the disciple. Nityananda is the primary manifested constituent of the divinity. Nityananda alone possesses the distinctive function of the Guru. In Nityananda, the function is embodied. Nityananda is the servant God. He serves Sri Gaurasundar by the distinctive method of reverential servitude. Dasyaras. Everybody serves Mahaprabhu in Dasyaras. Some of his intimate associates have a flavor of their relationship with Krishna, like Sup Damodar and Roy Ramananda. But he is the primary servant of Mahaprabhu in that way. He is identical with Sri Balaram of Krishna Lila. Sri Balaram is not the chum of Krishna, Old English, chum, right? Like friend, intimate friend. He's not the chum of Krishna, but his respected elder brother. It is an intimate relationship characterized by becoming reserved on one side and of respectful deference on the other, because he has a quality of embodying the mood of dasya. He also has some mood of friendship as Sakya, because they're cowherd boys, they're enjoying together. But he also has the protective mood of Vatsalya. So, individual souls are under the direction of Nityananda. They receive their service of Sri Gaurasundar, that is, of Krishna, at his hands. Nityananda is not a jiva. He is divinity. He is the ultimate source of the jiva. He is the predominating deity of Sandhini Shakti. And in Goloka Vrindavan, he's the source of all of the associates of Sri Krishna except the direct Kaya Vyuha gopis of Srimati Radhika. He's the source of all of them. In Vaikuntha realm, he, as Sankarshan, Mahasankarshan, he's the source of all the living entities there. And as Mahavishnu, he is the source of the jivas who ultimately become conditioned here. So he's the source of all jivas. The jiva is a potency of Nityananda. No jiva can be the medium of the service of the Absolute to another jiva. The Absolute alone may communicate his service to the separable constituents of himself. This is the real nature of the function of the guru. So what he's saying is that the guru independently is not the medium, the via media. We describe him as that, but that's because he's fully empowered and imbued with the power of Nityananda Prabhu. That's where it comes from. Independently, jivas don't do that. The Absolute alone may communicate his service to the separable constituents of himself. This is the real nature of the function of the Guru. So the Guru then takes on that role by the mercy of Nityananda. Now he goes on. But Nityananda does not directly instruct in the confidential service of Krishna. Srimati Radhika is the guru of the inner circle of the servants of Krishna. Srimati Radhika, however, accepts the offer of service only of those souls who are specially favored by Nityananda and are deemed by him to be fit for her service. There is, therefore, a most intimate relationship between the function of Nityananda and that of Srimati Radhika, which is at once supplementary to and inclusive of the former. Now, that's a very important paragraph because that reconciles something that many people don't understand when Srila Gurudev described that our ultimately Guru is Radhika, the ultimate Guru. Even she's Krishna's Guru, descriptions that are quoted in Chaitanya Caritamrta. But that is specifically reserved in her role as Guru among her intimate associates, right? The gopis, the manjaris. But nobody gets entrance into that realm except through the mercy of Nityananda and the Guru Varga that is empowered by him. In our case, it's the Rupanuga Guru Varga. And so they have an intimate relationship in their inherent functions to bring spirit souls into the service of Krishna and those most fortunate into the service of Srimati Radhika, right? Which is at once supplementary and inclusive of the former. Very, very amazing conception. So, not all jivas are liable to be eclipsed by the deluding potency. Those who are so liable are again distinct from the eternally free jivas, Nityasiddha and Nityabaddha, right? Some are eternally conditioned, some are eternally liberated. The eternally free jivas are inseparable associates of Nityananda. They are integrated parts and parcels of himself. They never fall into the clutches of Maya. When Nityananda manifests his appearance on the mundane plane, his inseparable constituents also appear in his company. Right? They sometimes manifest their function on this lower place in a visible form on the errands of Nityananda. So for us, that means when he descends, there are those who, in his Leela as Nityananda, along with Mahaprabhu, there are some that are particularly close with him and are with him all the time. Those are chiefly cowherd boys in Krishna Leela, chiefly cowherd boys. But he has many close friends also that are in the Shringar Ras as well, that are actually gopis. But his own inner group consists of those mainly in that Sakya Ras. They are Vaishnavas whose subordination to Nityananda is natural and ingrained in their nature. It is not necessary for such souls to undergo the process of enlightenment for being restored to the spiritual plane. But sometimes it appears like that in the Leela. They may appear to be educated and delivered, but there are many who are already eternally liberated, right? So unless this fact is borne in mind, the conditioned soul may be tempted to undervalue the constant guidance of the Guru on the hypocritical plea of following in the footsteps of the eternally free, pure devotees. In other words, their actions, what they do, because they're eternally liberated, they may exhibit pastimes and activities which are not fit for souls who are still conditioned and are undergoing the process of sadhana, right? Those, therefore, who suppose that deliverance from the bondage of this world should be practicable without the constant guidance of the spiritual preceptor, confound the conditioned state with the free. Oh my God. You know, those who, I want to read this again. Those who suppose that deliverance from the bondage of this world should be practicable without the constant guidance of the spiritual preceptor, confound the conditioned state with the free. Now, this is something that's very, it's a topic that's quite contemporary right now. Since the time of Srila Prabhupada, there have been many branches, offshoots, different ways in which his followers are teaching and practicing, right? And there's one specific group of followers who say just that we should be practicing bhakti in a practical way, in a way that the people of this world can relate to, right? But many of the things that they say and do and practice were never authorized or approved by Srila Prabhupada. That could be in the realm of editing books, changing language, removing things that they consider objectionable in the minds of contemporary people. That means in the practice and dress of people who are supposed to be representing the higher orders, the teaching orders, sannyas, brahmanas, and you don't have to be like that anymore. So without getting to too many examples, the justification is we want to be able to appeal to contemporary society so they'll like us, and then they'll be receptive to our teachings. But this is all without the guidance of the guru. This is something that has been created out of their own conditioned intelligence. And so it can't have value. It can't lead to what they think it's going to lead to. So that was his introduction. They have a whole other introduction about that. But now I'm just going to go into the different chapters. And the first chapter is the birth and childhood pastimes of Nityananda. And this is going to be with his eternally liberated friends. And they all appear with him in Ekachakra. And because they're eternally liberated, they have realization, understanding, taste, which astonishes the world. You'll see this. This is very amazing. Very, very amazing. So, the birth, this would be from the Chaitanya Bhagavat. These are put into narrative form. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the ocean of mercy. All glories to Lord Nityananda, the friend of the fallen souls. All glories to Sri Advaita Acharya, whose life and soul are Sri Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda. All glories to Srivas and Gadadhar Prabhus. All glories to Sri Vishrambar, the beloved son of Jagannath and Shachi. All glories to all the devotees and associates of the Lord. Oh, there's one thing I wanted to say. When he was talking about the relationship of Radha, Srimati Radhika, and Nityananda Prabhu, in Krishna Lila, Baladev does not have a direct relationship with Srimati Radhika. But in his function as the associate of Mahaprabhu, his chief associate for the purpose of preaching, right, and the teacher and guru of all, he has a very close relationship with Gadadhar Pandit, who is Srimati Radhika. So one of the specialities of Mahaprabhu's Leela is that devotees can associate in ways they would not associate in Krishna Leela. They're very close, very friendly. Nityananda will come and visit, bring gifts. They have deep discussions. Mahaprabhu will come, because they're embodied in different forms. They're all embodied in the mood of servitor, right? And so we'll probably hear about that later on. Very, very special. And in that way also then, we see that Nityananda is completely competent to deliver the most intimate and highest conceptions, Unnata Ujjvala Rasam Sabhakti Sriyam, that is talked about in the very beginning of Chaitanya Charitamrta, right? Not just Braj Prem, but Braj Prem in the mood of the gopis, and not just that, but the intimate servants of Srimati Radhika, right? So, this is the Mangalacharana of Vrindavan Das Thakur that we just heard. Then his verses. There is a village called Ekachakra in Radhadesh in West Bengal, where the Supreme Lord Nityananda appeared. From the day of his appearance, the whole of Radhadesh became all auspicious. Famine, poverty, and other distresses at once disappeared. They were in some difficulty before he came. But just like the descriptions of when Krishna appeared, Mahaprabhu appeared, all auspiciousness, not just in Ekachakra, all over the world. Everyone's delighting, right? A short distance from Ekachakra, the deity of Moreshwara is located. Lord Nityananda, who is non-different from Lord Balaram, had worshipped this deity. In the village of Ekachakra lived Hadai Pandit. He was a qualified brahmana, very detached and full of compassion. His wife's name was Padmavati, who was a very chaste woman and exalted devotee. She was the mother of the universe. Both Hadai Pandit and Padmavati Devi were very magnanimous. Lord Nityananda appeared in their family out of his own sweet will. In recent years, Ekachakra has been gradually building up with more temples now. I had the really good fortune one time to go there under the guidance of Sripad Premananda Prabhu. It was really a very exceptional experience because we would go to the little places that Nityananda used to go to, the temples, etc., but also wherever we went in this area, he had such amazing stories, things that he had heard, and the mood was so delightful. It was just exceptional. And it is still very undeveloped relative to, Navadvip, the island, especially Mayapur and Antardvip, right? Very wonderful, wonderful place. And you just feel tranquil, peaceful. The mood of Nityananda just pervades that place. On the auspicious 13th day of the waxing moon, in the month of Magh, which we're in now, January, February, Lord Nityananda made his appearance. He was the eldest among the sons of Hadai Pandit. Seeing his all auspicious characteristics, everyone's eyes filled with joy. In due course of time, Lord Nityananda grew. Due to the influence of his illusory energy, however, no one could recognize him. He concealed his real identity and happily played with his boyhood friends. Whatever pastimes he enjoyed with his childhood friends were related to the pastimes of Lord Krishna. And the same with Mahaprabhu. The illusory energy covers their Bhagavata so that these are Nara Lila, Naravat Lila, human-like, right? And that make it more sweet and more relishable. So, once, he and his friends formed an assembly of demigods, and one of them acted as Mother Earth, praying for their mercy. The demigods then led Mother Earth to the riverbank, where all the children began offering prayers. One boy, hiding from the rest, loudly declared, "I will soon take birth in Mathura, Gokul." That would be really amazing. Imagine being born in Ekachakra and being one of these children. I remember when I was 6, 7, we did plays, and we'd go around and invite all the neighbors, and we'd set up a little stage in the backyard. But they were stupid little cowboy plays, right? Imagine this. doing this Krishna Leela, or maybe born in Badger, New Vraj, or some place where the kids get to do plays. What a wonderful way to be educated. One night, the Lord and his friends enacted the marriage of Vasudeva and Devaki. Another night, while everyone else was asleep, they made a jail cell and enacted the birth of Lord Krishna. They made a place represent Gokul. Taking baby Krishna there, he was exchanged with Mahamaya, thus tricking Kamsa. Another time they dressed someone as Putana. Someone climbed on her chest to suck her breast. One day, Lord Nityananda and his friends made a shakata, or handcart, out of reeds, and then broke it. Another day, the Lord and his friends stole from the houses of the neighboring cowherd men. So Vrindavan Das Thakur, he's just reminding us of that pastime. And if you read Bhagavatam, read Krishna book, the pastimes that they enacted, you'll understand everything. They were doing it all, fully, dialogue and everything, right? And you're going to hear about the astonishment of their parents and the villagers. What? How do they know all this? Right? They're completely absorbed, and they're all playing these roles in such detail, and even more importantly, with such high moods of prem. You're actually tasting the prem in all of these pastimes. Right? The boys never left Nityananda to go home, but sported with him day and night. They never rested. They never needed. The children's parents never complained. Rather, they affectionately embraced Nityananda. They said, "We have never seen such transcendental sports. How does this child know so many of Krishna's pastimes?" You have to remember now, all these parents, who are they? Whenever the Lord appears, especially in these forms, right? In these original forms, Krishna, Balaram, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, their associates will take birth with them. Not just their contemporaries, but the elders as well. Parents, teachers, people like that. And they go to this dham, and it's a beautiful stage created by Yogamaya for their pastimes. So all these parents and elders in the village, they're also eternal associates. But they're also covered by Yogamaya, so they can relish in a special way. And they're amazed. They're enjoying, they're looking on, and sometimes witnessing these pastimes, absolutely enthralled and at the same time astonished. How do these children know so many of Krishna's pastimes? One day, the Lord made snakes out of leaves and took his friends to the water. One of them jumped into the water and did not move. Later, the Lord brought him back to consciousness. That's right, Kali Arid. Another day, the Lord and his friends went to Talavan, where they killed Dhenukasura and then ate tal fruit. Lord Nityananda and his childhood friends went to the fields and enjoyed various pastimes, such as the killing of Bakasura, Agasura, and Vatsasura. In the afternoon, the Lord and his friends returned home, blowing their buffalo horns. Of course, they have all these things. Some of them may be cowherd boys, some may be brahmanas, but everybody in this India of this time, all the boys are equipped with these things, sticks, horns, right? That's what you have. And, in the West, people have baseball gloves and balls and bats and stuff, but they have buffalo horns, flutes, sticks, little ropes. One day they enjoyed the pastime of lifting Govardhan Hill. And another day they created a Vrindavan where they enjoyed various sports. Once they enacted Krishna's pastime of stealing the gopis' clothes. And another day they enacted his meeting the wives of the brahmanas, performing sacrifices. So you notice they're doing Leela in all the different rasas, Krishna Leela. They're doing this pastime of stealing the garments of the unmarried gopis, very high, right? Where Krishna promises, yes, we will do Rasa Leela. The Brahmanas, right? The Mathura Ramanis, they also were getting that benediction. So on one occasion, a boy dressed up with a false beard as Narad and gave Kamsa some secret news. On another day, a boy dressed as a Krura and took Krishna and Balaram to Kamsa's capital. As Lord Nityananda cried in the mood of the gopis, notice that? Lord Nityananda cried in the mood of the gopis. It seemed to his friends that a river flowed from his eyes. By the influence of Lord Vishnu's illusory energy, no one could recognize Lord Nityananda as he enjoyed pastimes with his friends. Right? So this is actually quite significant. We've been told, we hear from Vaishnavas, from Gurudev, that Lord Nityananda, or Lord Balaram directly does not interact with Krishna, Radhika, and their gopis. He has his own gopis, but he also has the special form in which he serves Srimati Radhika and enacts with her as a Nanga Manjari. And so Lord Nityananda is in the complete mood of the devotee. Just as Mahaprabhu tastes all of the rasas of servitorship. When we were in Puri in 2004, Srila Gurudev was reading the Roy Ramananda Samvad. In the very beginning, it talks about Mahaprabhu going to Nrsimha temple and singing very beautiful prayers about Lord Nrsimha and Prahlad. And then he posed the question, why is he singing in this way? We generally hear Mahaprabhu came to taste the mood of the gopis, Srimati Radhika. But here he seems to be in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj. And then he answered it and said, because Mahaprabhu, one speciality, all the incarnations are within him, and he is enlightening all the devotees of all the different incarnations, all the avatars, and all the moods of service. All have that opportunity to realize that through the Yuga Dharma of Harinam. And Mahaprabhu, coming as a devotee, will also taste all of these different kinds of service mood. Although primarily he's in that mood of Radhika and the gopis, but he will taste all of them. Right? He will taste all, because they're all part of him. Right? So, Nityananda and his associates, or Nityananda particularly, he has that opportunity also, being the non-different expansion of Mahaprabhu, but imbued with the speciality of the mentality of servant to Mahaprabhu, but he can taste everything. And thus he can deliver everything. So he is the original guru who is making everything accessible. The fact that Saraswati Prabhupada mentioned earlier, he can, and only he, can give us access to Srimati Radhika and that line. So never think you can jump over the head of Gaur Nitai and just go into Braj Leela. No, can't do that. So, what happens next? By the influence of Lord Vishnu's illusory energy, no one could recognize Lord Nityananda as he enjoyed pastimes with his friends. The children arranged a city of Mathura and then wandered through its streets. Someone played the role of a gardener, while another accepted a flower garland from him. Someone dressed as Kupcha, and someone else accepted sandalwood paste from her. They made a large bow and shouted with joy when it was broken. They also enacted the pastimes of killing the elephant Kuvalayapida and the wrestlers Chanura and Mushtika. Thereafter the Lord chastised Kamsa by grabbing him by the hair and throwing him upon the ground. After killing Kamsa, the Lord danced with his friends in such a way that everyone watching him began to laugh. In this way, Lord Nityananda and his friends imitated the pastimes of various incarnations. Right? It's like Mahaprabhu came to taste all of this. One day, Lord Nityananda dressed as Vaman and went to cheat Bali Maharaj out of his kingdom, which covered the three worlds. Someone played an aged Shukracharya and forbade Bali to give the 3 steps of land requested by Lord Vaman. Accepting the gift, the Lord placed his last step on Bali's head. One day, Lord Nityananda enacted the pastime of building a bridge across the ocean, with the boys playing the role of monkeys. They cut castor plants and made a bridge across the water. See, transcendental boys. When I was a boy growing up, we had woods behind us. We chopped down stuff. We made forts. And we made tree houses, all that. That's the propensity of boys. But we never had the opportunity to imitate, the pastimes of Lord Ram, Krishna and his friends. It was never that. Imagine if we had had that. So they built a bridge across some river or a pond. Then all the boys shouted, "Joy, Raghunath!" Nityananda Prabhu, taking the role of Lakshman, with a bow in his hand, went in anger to rebuke Sugriva. He said, "O king of the monkeys, my lord is in distress. Come quickly or I will kill you. How can you sit here enjoying with women while Lord Ramachandra is lamenting on Malyavan mountain?" Right, because Sugriva had been given his post by Lord Ram. His brother had usurped it, and he killed his brother, Bali, and allowed him to go back. But then Sugriva, being like a monkey, just got lost in enjoyment and was enjoying intoxication, enjoying with his wives, forgot his debt to Lord Ram. So now Nityananda, young Nityananda, playing like Lakshman, "How dare you sit here on this drunken throne with you? Get out there and help Lord Ram as you promised to do, or I'll kill you right now." Imagine his mood. Oh, it must have been so wonderful to see that. Another day, Nityananda spoke in anger to Parashuram. "O Brahmana," he's Lord Ram, "I am not at fault. Leave here at once." Lord Nityananda was thus absorbed in the mood of Lakshman. The boys, unable to understand this, thought it was just a game. Another time, the boys took the role of 5 monkeys, and the Lord took the role of Lakshman. He asked, "Who are you monkeys wandering in the forest?" "I am the servant of Lord Ramachandra. Please tell me who you are." The boys replied, "We are wandering in fear of Bali. Please take us to Lord Ramachandra. We wish to take the dust of his lotus feet." Nityananda, in the role of Lakshman, embraced them and led them to Lord Ramachandra, where they all fell at his lotus feet. Once the Lord enacted the pastime of killing Indrajit, the son of Ravan. Another day, in the mood of Lakshman, he accepted defeat. They brought someone in the role of Vibhishana before Lord Ramachandra, and Lord Ram crowned him as the king of Lanka. I wonder if this one is going to tell the story. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go, a little bit further. One boy said, "I am mighty Ravan. Now I shall release the Shakti Shela weapon. Stop it if you can, Lakshman." Saying this, the boy threw a lotus flower at Lord Nityananda, who in the mood of Lakshman fell to the ground. After he fell unconscious, all the boys tried in vain to revive him. When they found no symptom of life in the body of Lord Nityananda, they all held their heads and cried, "Ah!" The Lord's father and mother came running there and saw their son without life. All the villagers ran there. They, "Oh no, what's going on?" Because for all intents and purposes, he looked devoid of life. So they too fell senseless to the ground. Everyone who saw this tragedy was struck with wonder. As the boys described the entire incident, one person, he's an older man, he said, "I know why he is unconscious. There is a boy who is dressed as Hanuman. If he gives Nityananda the medicine, then he'll be cured. Before the play, the Lord had instructed his friends, when I fall unconscious, you all surround me and cry. After a while, send Hanuman for some medicine. I will be revived when he puts the medicine to my nose. The Lord fell unconscious by his own sweet will. But this bewildered all the boys. Since everyone there was confused, they forgot the Lord's instructions. They simply cried loudly, "Oh, brother, please get up." So this is the play of Prem, right? In the experience of love of God, there's your sthai bhav, your immediate relationship, but in the exchange of love and all the different pastimes are vyabhichari bhavs, which are transitory emotions. And they can be so powerful that everything else is forgotten. You become overwhelmed in that. So they became overwhelmed in seeing their friend unconscious, and they forgot everything else. They also got so absorbed in the Leela, they forgot everything that they'd been told before. They were right there in it. And Nityananda was lying there as if dead. The same thing that happened on the battlefield at Lanka, right? And then, hearing the people's comments, the boys remembered Lord Nityananda's order, and a boy dressed as Hanuman immediately went for the medicine. Another boy who was dressed as a renunciate welcomed Hanuman with fruits and roots. This is one of the servants of Ravan who had been posted to interfere, right? He looked like a renunciate, and so he's trying to stall him. He said to Hanuman, "Oh, my dear sir, please stay and grace my ashram. It is wonderful fortune to meet such a person as you." So Hanuman was very polite. "Brahman, I must go and complete my important mission," Hanuman replied. "I'd like to stay, but I cannot delay. You must have heard that Lakshman, the younger brother of Lord Ramachandra, is unconscious from the Shakti Shela weapon of Ravan. I am on my way to Gandhamadana hill to bring medicine. Only then will he survive." But then the renunciate said, "Well, if you must go, first take a bath and have something to eat." Right? The two boys repeated whatever Lord Nityananda had instructed them. Everyone gazed at them in astonishment as they listened to their dialogue. On the request of the renunciate, Hanuman went to take a bath in the lake, where another boy grabbed hold of his feet. The boy, playing a crocodile, tried to pull Hanuman into the water, but Hanuman pulled the boy onto the shore. After a short fight, Hanuman defeated the crocodile, killed him. On returning to the renunciate's ashram, Hanuman saw a mighty warrior. A boy dressed as a Rakshasa tried to swallow Hanuman. Right? Then he transformed the so-called yogi into his real form. He challenged, "You defeated the crocodile, but how will you defeat me? I will eat you. Then how will you revive Lakshman?" Right? Hanuman replied, "You're Ravan's dog." "Oh, your Ravana is a dog." That's what he said. "Your Ravan is a dog. I think him most insignificant. Get out of my way." After first exchanging some harsh words, Hanuman and the Rakshasa began pulling each other's hair. Finally, they began striking each other with their fists. After swiftly defeating the demon, Hanuman went to Gandhamandana hill. There he fought with some boys dressed as Gandharvas. After defeating the Gandharvas, Hanuman took Gandhamadana hill on his head to Lanka. Because they told him, he said, "I don't know anything about medicine. What's the medicine look like?" "Oh, it looks fiery. Looks as if it has a flame." But the servants of Ravan then set fire to all the plants all over the hill. Right? So he couldn't tell which one was which. So you've seen pictures of him flying in the air with a hill with all these little flames on it. That's because they were all on fire. So he had to take it back the whole hill to the Vaidya, the doctor, so that he could pick out the right plant. So he took the hill on his head to Lanka. Another boy, playing a doctor, meditated on Lord Ram as he held the medicine to Lakshman's nose. At that very moment, Lord Nityananda came to his senses. His parents and others smiled in relief. Hadai Pandit embraced his son, and all the boys were overjoyed. It's as if their life was restored to them. Everyone asked, "Dear son, where have you learned all these plays?" And the Lord smilingly said, "These are all my pastimes." So there's more, but we're going to stop here. And we'll just continue reading this delightful stuff. There's that. Oh, you know what? There's just one more paragraph. Let's see what time. Because the next one is Lord Nityananda's traveling to the holy places. So this concludes this part. In his early childhood, the Lord was most attractive. No one wanted him to leave his lap. Everyone had more affection for Lord Nityananda than for their own son. But none could recognize him due to the influence of Lord Vishnu's illusory energy. In his childhood, Lord Nityananda had no other happiness than enjoying the pastimes of Lord Krishna. All his friends left their parents to constantly sport in the company of the Lord. I offer repeated obeisance at the feet of those boys who enjoyed the association of Lord Nityananda. From his childhood, Lord Nityananda had no interest other than in acting the pastimes of Lord Krishna. Who can describe the pastimes of Lord Ananta? They are only manifest to one who has received his mercy. Accepting Sri Chaitanya and Sri Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. So Vrindavan Das, who did receive, he's the disciple of Nityananda, and all this appeared in his heart by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Right? And notice, he's offering obeisance and glorification not just to his guru and to Lord Nityananda, but to his guru, Lord Nityananda, but to all the associates, the eternal associates of Lord Nityananda. And so in the same way, we should also regard all the associates of Krishna, of Baladev, of Mahaprabhu, of Lord Nityananda, and show such regard and such love for them. But as Lord Nityananda represents Sri Guru, in order to please Guru, you also have to have respect for his disciples. You can't say, I'm a servant of Guru, and disrespect, disregard, insult, criticize his disciples. The more you understand Guru, the more deeply you are blessed with vision of his Manabhishta, with commitment to his mission, the more you'll be able to appreciate his disciples, no matter what their level, right? If they're new and full of faults and habits and things that upset you, but you can see, like Guru sees, that spark of devotion, and you can appreciate that, and you honor that, and you encourage them, right? Don't fall into the trap of, becoming a critic, because these are the children of your Guru. You're the elder brother, elder sister, or whatever, You want to, as Guru, be very pleased if you help the others. Or if you're the younger, if you serve the elder ones, right? Gurudev would always say, juniors should have respect and serve seniors, and seniors should have great affection and love and help protect and instruct juniors, right? Like a family. So, tomorrow we'll hear about Lord Nityananda's traveling to the holy places. This is fantastic. Okay, so we'll stop here. Where's our thing? We'll offer obeisance to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, to all the assembled Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, to Lord Nityananda, all his eternal associates. Gaur Premanande, Hari